All right, here we go again. And we are going to talk about male external catheters. You will be one of the few classes in the entire world that know this stuff that I'm going to teach you. I just happen to have a little knowledge that most people don't have. So you get the benefit of it today. First, let's talk about incontinence in general, and then we'll get more specific. I'm going to share my screen with you. I've created this cute little presentation, so let's go through that. So urinary incontinence affects 25 million Americans. 2.2 of those are men in the US. There are other figures out there. This one I could validate. I know it's as big as 13 million men that's been reported in the news suffer with incontinence. And that's a little scary. Think about if you were this moment to lose your ability to control your urine. We're not even talking fecal incontinence. We're just talking about urinary incontinence. If you right now sitting there all of a sudden wet your pants for no reason that you could understand, what are the things that are going to go through your mind and how is it going to change your life? All right, let's talk about the types of male urinary incontinence. 85% of the incontinence in the US, this is just the US, is actually women because of having children mostly, and there's different kinds of incontinence. So we're going to talk about the types of incontinence, the causes of incontinence, the emotional, social, and economic impact of incontinence, and treatments and alternative solutions. So go ahead and ask questions. I dare you. All right, here we go. This is the urinary system. You've seen this in biology, I'm sure. You've got your kidneys, your ureters that come down to the bladder, and then of course your urethra that exits the body. So the kidneys are where we balance all of our electrolytes. Basically, the kidneys means homeostasis in a lot of places of our body. So our blood pH, our electrolytes, our fluids, it all happens right here in the kidneys. What we don't need, we of course evacuate. So, types of incontinence that happen: urge incontinence. Bladder doesn't relay information. Have you ever had that happen? Not in time. So if you're having to go to the bathroom and you run to the bathroom, or it's too far away, or you just can't get there in time. So that's what urge incontinence is. Stress incontinence, that's mostly what women have after having babies, is loss of control when sneezing or coughing, heavy lifting, moderate or physical exercise. So, and that, they have actually new treatments for women now. It's kind of like a TENS unit, and it delivers, what did they say? Something like 6,500 electrical impulses while you sit on it, and it improves continence for 85% of the people that are trying it. So it's a new practice, but it is out there, and you can talk to your physician about finding it. I think it's more of a holistic practice, but it is out there. For men, they do those kinds of interventions. Also, one of them is electrical stimulation, but it's anal electrical stimulation, and sometimes that can help. But again, the sphincter issue isn't the same for men or women. For stress incontinence, a lot of times this happens after transurethral process. It's when they go in and clear out some of the prostate that is surrounding their urethra. It surrounds the prostate, surrounds the urethra, and then sometimes when men are older, 65 usually and older, the prostate grows and it puts more pressure on the urethra, and so they go in and they'll clear out, and they call it a TURP, and they do it through their urethra. And when that happens, it can cause some sphincter issues afterwards. Also, when people get prostatectomies, that can cause some sphincter issues. Prostatectomies are very close to the nerve that innervates for that sphincter. Remember, in the bladder, let's go back real quick. Oops, only one. There's two sphincters. There's an internal sphincter and then there's an external sphincter. And so the internal sphincter, the bladder holds about 400 cc's before it says, you suck, I'm letting go. And so this is why little kids can't control their bladder until they're really about 4 years old, 3 to 4 years old. And that internal sphincter lets go. And if we don't have control of that external sphincter, that's when we're in trouble. So stress incontinence happens when that particular sphincter is weakened by any kind of stressors, that physical, emotional, that also hormones can mess with that sphincter. So overflow incontinence is when the bladder reaches capacity. So a lot of people with MS will have overflow incontinence. The bladder will reach capacity, but they can't feel it. And so the signal sent to the brain, and it opens up both the internal and external sphincters. And they have no control over that. And also, if the physician finds that they have overflow incontinence, they'll probably ask them to straight cath during the day, 3 or 4 times a day, so they don't end up, number one, stretching the bladder, because it will stretch. And number two, we don't want to damage the sphincters. So they may ask them to that, but they also will have episodes of incontinence due to overflow. Mixed incontinence, usually stress and urge together. And then we have reflex incontinence. So if we have spinal cord injuries, the neural pathway for that is interrupted. So it doesn't go the way that it's supposed to the brain, the spinal cord, the brain, and back to the bladder. It's just a reflex pathway when that pathway to the brain is cut off. And so that incontinence happens when people have spinal cord injuries. Functional incontinence, difficult reaching the bathroom, getting your belt undone, slow because you're old, you have a walker, and you're four-wheeling it to the park bathroom. So that's just functional. It's not a matter of urge where the brain doesn't give the information in time. It's just you and I sometimes can wet our pants when there's no gas station for 250 miles, right? Right. Okay. So if we don't get a chance to go, that's called functional incontinence. Some causes of urinary incontinence. We know that diabetes mellitus, what does it do? It's when there's the high glucose in the vessel, what does it do to those teeny tiny vessels? It destroys them. Too acidic, and so the vessels get destroyed. And so that includes those neural pathways, because if you can't feed them with blood, those neural pathways die. And so that reaction to urinary fullness or bladder fullness then results maybe in incontinence. Multiple sclerosis, we know that those pathways that innervate muscles deteriorate because they become unmyelinated. The myelin sheath is deteriorated. So the signals don't go very fast, and sometimes they don't go at all. ALS, which happens almost the same way as multiple sclerosis. Parkinson's, we lose neural pathways also, and we become compromised in that way that continence, urinary and fecal, can become a problem. Dementia, don't have to really talk about that, do we? We just forget. I had a 7-year-old who was doing the pee-pee dance all over the living room, and we're saying, okay, run, 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 go to the bathroom. While she was in the bathroom, she had dementia. She was in there for half an hour, dancing, singing, you could hear her, and she came out and promptly wet her pants because she forgot to go. So, traumatic brain injury, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Spinal cord injury we spoke about, and BPH, prostate and bladder cancers. So BPH, benign prostate hyperplasia, and prostate and bladder cancers both affect continence because of treatments can destroy the nerve that innervates that sphincter for both legs. Sometimes people will have their bladders removed and get a new bladder made out of intestines. And that sphincter doesn't always work well for that. So let's move on. Emotional impact. Have you been thinking about it? What happens if you started wetting your pants right now? Wearing diapers and pads, new concept, emotionally unacceptable. I cannot be a baby. I can't wear diapers. I can't do it. For women, we've been dealing with things like this for a long time. Since, we were usually 12 or 13 and we started menstruating, this isn't the biggest deal to us. So we put a pad on and go about our life. But for men, where their world revolves is around their ability to be strong, and this also means in this way. And if they're become incontinent and start wetting pants, number one, the humiliation, public humiliation for men is a huge factor, and it's emotionally devastating. So you have a CEO of a large company, he's lecturing, and all of a sudden his pants are wet in front. And he has all these people that are there that are supposed to respect him. So it's emotionally unacceptable. A lot of people, mostly men, have depression and will turn to suicide before they'll wear diapers. So for some, it completely destroys their self-image, their self-esteem, and nobody wants to smell like a wet diaper. And urine doesn't smell until it hits the air. I think that's a lot like Schrodinger's cat, though, when I think about that. And many won't seek help because then the secret is out. And once the secret's out, everybody wants to help, and so the secret gets passed around. We need family members to help and support him. We need his physician to know. We need his psychologist to know. We need everybody to know so they can support him. But then the secret is out and self-esteem is gone. And then, again, some even consider suicide or commit suicide because of urinary incontinence. I had a couple of customers who called and let us know that was their plight, is they had a gun to their head and they were going to commit suicide before they found a product that worked for them. So, all right, social impact. Grandpa doesn't come to dinner anymore. Grandpa doesn't come to Thanksgiving anymore. Grandpa doesn't go to movies anymore. Grandpa doesn't do anything anymore. They stop going to work, or they work when nobody else is around. They stop going to social events, to church. Some become reclusive and don't venture out unless they're starving and need to go get groceries. And they're unable to continue living their life as they had before. This is huge. And how many people do we know who are not incontinent when they are put into a facility, but within a month or two have become incontinent? We do this to them. We destroy their self-esteem. We destroy their self-image because we have not enough people to get there in time when they ring the bell and the light goes off and they have to go to the bathroom. And this isn't something that anyone wants. And then depression sets in and other problems set in and eating problems set in. And so this is a huge deal. And as nurses, this is something that we need to support our clients on, our residents, our patients, no matter where they are. This is something that we need to support them in. So bladder retraining, if somebody's lost hope, it isn't going to do much good. So you need to really, really think about this as the nurse. And when you have CNAs that say, that's not my call light, do you understand why it would be so important that we make sure that we take care of our patients in that way? Economic, you stop working, you lose your income. You lose your income, you lose your medical insurance. You get UTIs because you don't want to drink anymore. And sepsis and death. Once you're over 65, A lot of people don't know that they have UTIs until they've become septic, and death comes very quickly after if it isn't taken care of. So that's a huge cost in medical bills. Increased costs for supplies. Diapers are not covered by insurance. Do you think people are spending hundreds of dollars on diapers a month? Absolutely. So increased medical costs due to skin breakdown. Have you seen those wounds? You saw Jane's butt. Oh, maybe you haven't. Yes, you have. You've watched that video. That is from skin breakdown from wet diapers and not moving Jane enough. That's what's, and then you have to have the nurse come in, you have huge losses in fluids and more illness and more infections. So this is an increase in falls leading to injury and hospitalization because they're trying to get to the toilet and no one will help them when they're not able to on their own. So do you know patients who get up and try to get to the toilet without anybody because no one will answer their light? Again, this is a big deal. You want to be sitting there in a wet diaper? So let's talk about urine collection devices. We mostly know this kind right here. This is basically called, whoops, now it works. It's basically called a standard external catheter. It's a sticky catheter. So I'm going to stop my screen share for a minute. It's a sticky catheter. Okay, I'm going to point it down here. So open it up, take it out, and then you would take and put the head of the penis inside, and then you roll it down and you squeeze and hold the stickiness on. But you know, some people, when they get older and they have a little bit of retraction going on, or they've had a prostatectomy and they've lost that support internally, their penis is not that long, but yet this is where the sticky starts. So they don't have a lot of sticky going on, and it is very sticky. And then you plug this in to a leg bag. Open that leg bag. You plug this part into the leg bag. And this is sterile, so be careful with this. So you'll pop this off. I call this a Christmas tree because it's braided and I don't know, it looks like a Christmas tree. And so you pop this part into, actually you'd probably put it on an extension tube depending on what they're wearing, but I'm going to just show you this. So you pop that on here, and sometimes they slide on well, and since I have two hands, it's not sliding on really well. So what can happen here is, number one, you have that sticky catheter on you, and you have to pull that off the penis every day. So think about that. Number two, these come disconnected. It just happens. And so then you have urine in your shoes, you have urine down your leg, and then this is leaking all over the place. So that's a problem. And then again, pulling this off the skin every day. I mean, it's sticky. Also, if it gets wet, so if it doesn't seal right or it's not the right size, it gets wet, it just comes off anyway. So the sticky part causes skin breakdown. Also, watch this. So if you put this on your leg bag, your extension tube, whatever, what's happening there? It gets cut off, and that happens too. If it gets cut off, the urine backs up in the catheter, and then the catheter gets wet, and the catheter comes off. So this is the standard kind, and the standard kind doesn't work well for many people. They can make it work, but there is skin breakdown because you're pulling this off every day. There are slip-offs, there are pull-offs, people are getting wet. And most of the people that wear these wear the leg bag down on the calf, and they'll put their foot up on the toilet to empty out into the toilet. Okay, so that's the standard kind. Let me go back to sharing my screen. I want to show you something else. This middle, well, let's start with this one. This is called the Alphadry. The Alphadry is an external catheter that has the condom portion right here, and then the reservoir portion. This will actually hold as much as a leg bag. It does, however, blow up like a grapefruit, but that's with 2 really big urinations. So this is for, this particular device is for people who are still active, who just kind of want their life back, want to still ski and boat and swim and scuba dive and play golf and whatever. And this particular one, this one connects to a leg bag. It has a longer extension, but for the purpose of showing it, this one will connect, or a bedside bag, and this one will connect. And it doesn't come off very easily, but so that's what it looks like. But I'm going to show you. So to put it on, it's also made of latex, and a lot of people won't use latex or have latex products around. I know the hospital won't have latex products around, but only 2% of the nation is actually allergic to latex. And I know a lot more people are allergic to a lot more things in the hospital than latex. Okay, so here is this one that's not rolled down. To roll it down, what I do is I put my fingers in here, and I help older people understand this because their dexterity isn't as good as ours. And then I just have them push it, roll it down their hand like that. And this one, you roll down all the way until it looks like it's turning out. This is, again, called the Alphadry. And then you see what's called a T-valve. And that is the anti-reflux valve. So urine goes through, but doesn't come back through. This is worn in the shorts. So this is the other one rolled down. This is not one that, this is just one that goes in the shorts. So here you have the T-valve. And to put it on, people will hold the penis between their thumbs and then roll up the latex with their hands. So you don't, there's no shoving and stuffing that happens here, but you just roll the latex up, however along. And then you have, this is where the head is. And so then you put a Velcro strap behind the head. There's no sticky, no nothing like that. And they can adjust that Velcro strap because I know they like to put it on tight. And so then it doesn't come off. The big deal about any condom catheter is getting the right size. This one though, it just tucks in your shorts. You need to wear like a midway boxer brief that's spandex, like a bike short. And then of course, after you put it on, you push all the air out so that it creates kind of a suction. And then when people urinate, it fills up. And in one good urination, they just reach in their pocket and they go, oh, okay, I need to go empty it every couple of hours. And then they just put that back in their shorts and go. And so there's no adhesive, there's no skin breakdown. You get in a shower, you wash it out while you're washing you off, and then you hang it to dry. So people usually use 2, and they change these every month. The standard is change every day. These you just wash and reuse for a month. So the cost is really low. These will cost insurance with the bags, the leg bags, the bedside bags, and 30 of these a month will usually cost over $100 and some odd dollars. These are $32.95, and getting 2 to begin with, and then one every other, and one every month is, you know, that's your cost. Insurance only pays like $9 for it, but it's less than diapers. Anyway, so this is the product that our client said, I just want you to know you saved my life. I had a gun to my head. I was saying goodbye to all my friends on the internet, on the Facebook, on his Facebook page. I think he was just saying goodbye. And his friend said, hey, why don't you try this? He goes, I've tried everything. Not going to happen. He goes, you can kill yourself tomorrow. Just try this. Call them, get one, try it. So this particular vet, he said, called me about a month after he had gotten his product. And he said, I just want you to know I'm alive today because of you guys. And I'm like, nah, you're alive because you made a good purchase. And he goes, nope, I want you to know I'm alive today. And I am out going to the grocery store. I'm like, that's great. And then he called me the next week and he says, I'm out walking my dog. I go, what? Sounds like a lot of fun. He goes, you know what? I don't think you understand. I said, well, I'm glad you're getting out. He goes, no, I haven't been out of my house for 30 years. Then the eyes of my understanding were opened and I knew what he was talking about. So because he had tried this, which is all of the products that anyone ever tries to give us for our patients, this does not work. But he had tried this. He had tried what's called a McGuire Urinal. He tried all kinds of things and it didn't work, but that did. And then he hooked up at night. He used his other one and hooked up to a bedside bag at night. And he says, and I haven't been wet since. So because of the T-valve, it empties directly in and everybody stays dry. So that's called the Alphadry. All right, look, you're learning, you're growing. All right, oh, that's not a screen share. Let's try it again. I did that to you before, didn't I? All right. All right, let's go to the GeeWhiz. The GeeWhiz is a product. This is this middle one right here. It was created by a pharmacist. And the pharmacist decided he didn't want people being wet anymore either. So this is his external catheter. It looks a lot like this one, doesn't it? Except for, see this part. Remember this part? Remember that closure? Can't happen with this one. It's created it so that it has a plastic piece in it and that it can't shut off no matter what, right? Also, oh, I forgot a piece, hang on. It has, this is an alligator clip. So it will open when I push, open and close, and it clips onto the end of this, and then you put your bedside bag or your Christmas tree for whatever in there. They also come with a longer one, so that if you need to hook up to something else. Now, what's so different about this one? Well, first of all, we know that it can't get cut off, but there's no adhesive on it. There's no adhesive at all. Also, it comes with what's called a gel strip. It's a patented little piece of silicone strip. It has a scrim in the middle, so it keeps its shape. And this silicone strip gets stuck on, wrapped around, and then wrapped over itself. You never want to, how do I do this? You never want to swirl it. You want it to close in down on itself and create a seal. So it creates that seal over itself. And then the catheter is put on over that silicone strip. You just roll it up. Again, a simple process. And then it has this it's kind of like a stretchy Band-Aid that goes over that silicone bump. So number one, already, this has created a watertight seal and it's not going anywhere. And it's not an adhesive. And then if they need this, which we ask everybody to use. So you're going to put that on the same way. And once it's stuck, it's stuck. And people like to stretch it and make sure that it really connects. But this is a special material where when you stretch it really hard, like people like to do, they stretch it really hard. but yet it kind of relaxes and it won't let them stretch too hard. So it gives back an inch, so they can't really put too much pressure on. So this not going anywhere. And then you have, again, you have your connection. It's also not going anywhere. This is not going to come disconnected. So if you connect this well to a leg bag, some people even tape them, but this is called the GeeWhiz. And then when we take this off, let's preserve it. Look at that. When we take that off, that formula, and then we just unroll it off of that gel strip. And that gel strip comes right off. Remember the sticky hands the kids could get out of the bubblegum machines? Yeah, so it's kind of like that. And they can rinse this in water. It's hydrophobic, so no water will stick to it. It doesn't stay wet. And that is the GeeWhiz. Cool thing, huh? It's super cool. And people love this. Insurance pays for this completely, and so they don't have to pay for it at all. And they really like that. So let's talk a little bit about retraction. What is retraction? So when men are overweight, for every 30 pounds of weight they're overweight, they can lose 1 inch of extension externally on their penis. And all that is fat gathers around the belly and the penis is anchored inside. So it doesn't get to just be where, it's not just external. It is anchored inside. And so when they lose that length, it's called retraction. And so if you have somebody who's morbidly obese, then that's going to be difficult to put a catheter on because there isn't anything there. I had a patient who was so morbidly obese that he was also diabetic and he was a dialysis patient. And he was so obese that basically the penis and that area looked like a belly button. And it was mistaken for a belly button one time by a new CNA who was there, and she was trying to clean his belly button during his bedside bath. And it didn't go well. So anyway, retraction happens when there's a lot of weight gain. Sometimes also when men lose their prostate due to a prostatectomy, then that supporting organ inside, the prostate that's there supporting the penis is gone, and so the penis will retract automatically if there's no supporting organ like it is. So retraction is what people, and also as we age, as men age, they lose length just because of age. Everything shrinks. Everything shrinks for all of us as we age. So retraction happens if a man has at least 1 inch of length, just at least 1 inch, then he can wear both the GeeWhiz and the Alphadry. So that gives a lot of people hope. Let's go back to a couple more devices that you might not know about. Okay. This one here is called the Liberty 3.0. This goes right on the head of the penis, and so it doesn't matter if there's retraction or not. And then this part of it will wrap around. This will flip down, and that will wrap around the head of the penis also. And so it will also retract with the penis. It is a hydrophobic hydrocolloidal. It's a colloidal adhesive, which means it balances the moisture in the skin. So it also means that it does not come off until it's ready to come off. You have to get it really, really wet when it absorbs because it balances moisture. It gets really, really, if it gets wet, and then it will come off. This one also is paid for completely by insurance. And for people with retraction, sometimes this is their only hope for an external catheter and not diapers, but it is out there. It's made by Bioderm. And again, it's called, I think it's the Liberty, Men's Liberty 3.0. This one here is called the McGuire Urinal. And I will tell you, most patients who use McGuire, it has a sleeve inside. And so you cut the sleeve to the length, and that will seal so that water can't come out. And then this is the receptacle. But I will tell you, most men who wear it, they'll just put the cap on the receptacle and not put a leg bag on. And so they kind of stew in their own juices. I don't know why they do this, but then they go empty it at the urinal, but it doesn't work out well. But sometimes this is the only option. Also, it also, you know, if you're not wearing, well, I guess even if you are wearing loose pants, anyway, you always look happy to see people. Here we go. This is called the Afex. And the Afex is a pair of shorts. It's a pair of shorts, and the shorts have a hole, and this is a receptacle. And so basically, you put this receptacle inside these shorts underneath this elastic band. Hard to do while I'm trying to look at the camera, huh? Underneath this elastic band, and then it comes out of the slice in the garment. And so, and once it comes out in the garment, it is attached to a proprietary leg bag. This leg bag holds about, I believe it's about 400 cc, 500 cc's. So that's good. And that screws on, and then you can just empty it there. So that basically somebody is just stepping into a pair of shorts. You can see the end of this receptacle has no adhesive. It has nothing to hold the penis in. So if somebody suffers with retraction, this isn't going to work out well. As soon as you sit down, you may pull out, because natural retraction happens when the man sits down. The penis is attached, so it retracts. Also, laying down, you're just going to be wetting on yourself. So Afex is good, I guess, if you're walking around playing golf, and that will work out. So, but it is an option that's out there. Again, it's called the Afex. And let's see. Let me share again so you can kind of see a picture of it. This one is called You Are Free to Go. It was developed in China after a man, after a man's son became incontinent. He decided he didn't want him to have to go around wet or to wear diapers. And so it comes with a pair of proprietary underwear, again, that has elastic in there to hold this receptacle in. It has, kind of looks like a cup, and it has this kind of also looks like a mask for resuscitation, and then it has the hole that's right there. So again, if there's retraction, this is not going to work. It also has this little receptacle here for making this I'm going to make this little face mask looking part, this inflatable, and so that you can inflate it so it seals against the body there. And it has a place for air also. Vent. And then that bottom part that comes out attaches to a proprietary tube, which is missing. Who took it? A proprietary tube that screws in, and so it gets attached to here, and it screws in so that it cannot come off. The tube is connected to the leg bag, and it will screw into this part so it cannot come off, and that is you are free to go. So when they first came to, they're based in Canada but made in China. When they first came, when I heard of them, and I was talking to their manager, he was asking for help to get into the market, and it was interesting because we needed a different size for this market, so we had to have them create a different size for this market. But there you go. Oh, something exciting. Here we go. You know what this is? This is a female external catheter. And this is cotton, and it's got material that's really, really absorbent underneath it. This gets hooked to a suction tube, and this goes between the labia. So you would spread the labia and lay this in between the labia, and that when the urine came, it would be absorbed and suctioned. What can you think of that might be a problem? The labia sticking to this and this moving around, and that very, very sensitive and fragile skin tears. So you will need to look out. If you have an opportunity to see this and see it used, you will need to make sure that you're looking for skin tears in the labia, because they do happen with this. This is a problem with this. And it's, again, used for incontinence. It's not used for continent people. It's used for incontinence. Okay? And that's a female external catheter. There you go. There's finally one on the market. It's not like a GeeWhiz, but it's an actual external catheter. All right. I think that's the end of the show. I think I've showed you all I have. I have. No more products. But you now know more than all the other nurses on the planet, except for the classes that went before you, about external catheters. So help your clients. Get products for them. And you can look for them by name: GeeWhiz, Alphadry, You Are Free to Go, McGuire Urinal, what else? Afex. All these different products. You can look for them on the internet. All right, there you go. Go wash your hands.